Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Luke Tidaldi. I'm a senior producer here at the conference board standing in for Greg Morrow, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, How Water's Innovative Marketing Tactics Drove High Member Enrollment with a Digital MSK Solution. A little bit about today's agenda. We're going to review the state of employee health in the remote workplace. We're going to do a deep dive into the state of MSK benefits. We're going to discuss how Water's innovative marketing tactics drove high member enrollment with a digital MSK solution. We're going to review Water's clinical and financial outcomes, and we are going to provide you with key takeaways. To earn HRCI, SHRM, and CPE credits, submit your requests under My CEUs by clicking the link in the CEU request pod in the bottom right corner of the webcast console. You're going to have to click OK for 3 pop-ups that occur during the program and stay online for the entire webcast. Credit is available for participation in the live webcast only, so you won't get that for on-demand viewing. Now I'd like to introduce today's presenters. Dr. Jeff Krause graduated from Harvard College, earned his medical degree from UC San Francisco School of Medicine, and completed his residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation at Stanford University. In addition to serving as Hinge Health's Chief Medical Officer, he's currently a clinical assistant professor at Stanford University in the Department of Orthopedics and continues to practice as a part-time staff physician at VA Palo Alto Healthcare System. As the Senior Director of Global Benefits and Mobility at Waits Corporation, Robert DeFabio plays a pivotal role in development and implementation of innovative benefits program for the company's 7,000-plus global employees. An HR professional with over 25 years of benefits experience, Rob has become a champion of designing benefits strategies that improve the lives and overall health of Water's employees and their families. Jeff, Rob, welcome.
Great. Well, thank you, Luke, and it's great to be here today. So let's dive in and let's start with the key MSK challenges and trends that we're seeing in 2020 and beyond. So as many of us on the call know, MSK conditions are very common. More than 1 in 2 of your members will be affected in any given year. And with so many of your members having MSK conditions, it's really no surprise that MSK is still the top medical cost driver in 2020, outpacing spending for, as you can see here, cancer, cardiovascular conditions, diabetes. And this data is based on a recent survey of employers by the Business Group on Health, in which respondents indicated conditions that were among their top 3 medical cost drivers in 2020. So working from home during the COVID-19 pandemic is really accelerating MSK challenges. Hinge Health conducted a survey of over 900 employees in June of this year and released a report entitled New Health Risks in the Remote Workplace. In our survey, we found that during the COVID-19 pandemic, remote workers are struggling with multiple challenges. So in fact, the top 3 challenges cited are number 1, social isolation and loneliness, number 2, lack of movement, and number 3, difficulties separating work and personal life. Many of your members who have transitioned to remote work over the past few months are likely struggling with many of these same challenges. Not surprisingly, with lack of movement being one of the top challenges during remote work, back and joint pain are on the rise. According to our Hinge Health survey report, close to half of remote workers are currently experiencing back and joint pain, with over 70% experiencing either new or increased back and joint pain since they began working from home during the pandemic. In addition, many members prefer to avoid in-person healthcare services due to COVID-19. Based on a recent survey by the Business Group on Health of employers, large employers report that across all conditions, MSK digital care will show the highest growth from 2020 to 2023. And as you can see, the growth rate indicated for MSK is significantly higher than the rate for other virtual care services like mental health or prenatal care. So how can employers and health plans address these increasing MSK challenges? I'll share how Hinge Health's clinical model of care can help you address MSK conditions much more effectively here. So first, when employers are looking for virtual MSK solutions, it's important to know that the majority of MSK spend is really driven by the chronic MSK procedures like surgery and imaging, which are very often avoidable. In fact, 3/4 of your total MSK spend is driven by the chronic MSK conditions because members opt to pursue expensive elective surgeries, imaging, procedures, etc. And these are the main culprits that you see here. So there's back, knee, neck, hip, and shoulder. And together they make up about 75% of MSK spending. Chronic MSK management will get quite expensive over time as somebody starts to need more and more interventions like imaging and procedures. And it can get into the range of about $10,000 to $12,000 per member. And then if the pain becomes unbearable and the member decides that surgery is needed, then you're looking at maybe $50,000 or even north of $100,000 for an elective surgery like a spinal fusion. And while chronic MSK holds the highest ROI potential because of the possibility of avoiding these elective surgeries and procedures, treating it is quite complicated. And this is not because from a doctor's perspective, it's not because this is medically complex. Once you've ruled out some of the key red flag issues with somebody who has many of these chronic conditions, medically it's fairly straightforward, but behaviorally it's very complex. It requires a lot of attention to lifestyle factors, behavior change, mental health concerns, and really taking a holistic approach to the patient. So the important thing to understand about chronic MSK pain is that it is both physical and mental. And this surprises people a lot of times when they're thinking about back and joint pain. Chronic MSK pain is not just a physical injury. And when I'm talking about chronic, I'm talking about people who, by definition, it's 3 months or longer that somebody has had pain. But when someone has a chronic condition, lack of movement in someone's lifestyle can have a severe impact on their pain. In addition, weight, which often is driven by lack of movement, can have a big impact. And we find that about half of people who are overweight also experience some kind of MSK pain. In addition, mental health conditions such as anxiety and depression affect chronic MSK pain. So 2 of 3 people with chronic MSK pain will experience some depression or anxiety. And worse still, people with chronic MSK pain have at least twice the risk of suicide as those without it. So these are serious mental and physical well-being issues that really must be addressed in order to get to the root of what's causing chronic MSK pain. Given the complexity of chronic MSK pain, how can we treat it effectively? And just prescribing physical therapy or surgery is really unlikely to solve the problem. Fortunately, all leading medical bodies indicate that taking a biopsychosocial approach is the gold standard for alleviating chronic MSK pain. So what is a biopsychosocial approach? Quite simply, this approach focuses on the influences that biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors all have on somebody's overall health. So the biological component focuses on the biology or physiology or pathophysiology that is underlying someone's MSK pain. So that might be someone's underlying osteoarthritis or wear and tear, which in many people does not cause any pain at all, but certainly is a contributor for many people. This could also be a muscle strain or spasms, those kinds of things. Then we have the psychological component, and that focuses on the psychology of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are influencing somebody's health. For example, research shows that a strong belief in oneself or sort of a can-do attitude leads to lower pain levels even at 1 or 2 years after an intervention. And finally, we have the social component. which focuses on the way that society and culture and relationships can influence how people view their health. So education can be important here to dispel some common myths and empower people, but community and family support also can help members make lifestyle changes to reduce their pain as well, and are often really critical factors in somebody's recovery. So for effective treatment, chronic MSK conditions require consistent support with respect to these lifestyle factors, behavior change, mental health, etc., in addition to movement. And to provide the behavioral intervention that members with chronic conditions need, our Hinge Health clinical care model surrounds the member with a complete clinical team. So first, participants have anytime virtual access to our physical therapists who design the exercise and education in the program, review the clinical screener, and they'll monitor or intervene based on a participant's clinical outcomes. Then we have health coaches, and health coaches are really on the front line, driving adherence and behavior change. The health coaches are trained in behavioral and motivational support, and they proactively reach out to members each week. They also can refer patients to your integrated employer benefits, say an employee assistance plan or other vendors that are available to that particular employee. Lastly, our sensor technology supports members in our clinical team by providing real-time feedback and tracking progress. It's easy to use the sensors, and notably they work right out of the box as well. So this combination of PTs, health coaches, and sensor technology creates a truly member-centered clinical care model, and it's clinically proven to deliver the industry's best engagement and outcomes. So at this point, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Rob to review how Waters implemented Hinge Health's clinical model of care and drove high enrollment through the industry, through their innovative marketing tactics and approaches. So Rob?
Thanks, Dr. Kraus. All excellent points. And so now we're about a year in since we went live with Hinge Health, and I've seen all of that in action. So hopefully I can relay some of that experience today. And just so no one confuses us, the doctor who went to Harvard has the tie and jacket on. The other one of us did not go to Harvard, and you certainly don't want to be asking me any diagnoses questions. Let's just make that clear. What I can do is share with you my story as a human resources benefits geek, really. So, and I'm happy to do that. I'm sure there's many of you other benefits geeks out there listening right now. I realize, and many of you probably also have some of your own successful benefit marketing tactics. But still, I'm hoping that each of you will get at least one thing, hopefully a bunch, but hopefully at least one thing that you hear today that can be implemented at your own organization to help you be that much more successful going forward. So my eyes, just personal note, seem to be getting worse and worse every month. So I have several large screens in front of me right now, just so I can make sure I can actually see the slides that you're seeing, to make sure I'm talking about the right item at the right time, and so I can see chat features coming in. So I apologize if you see my eyes kind of going from screen to screen. It's so I can keep up with everything. So let's start to get into it here. I'm going to start with, I'm sure many of you don't even know who Waters is or what Waters does, so I'll explain that for you. So for any of the scientists that might be listening, Waters provides high-value analytical technologies and industry-leading scientific expertise. That's above my head. So for the rest of us, Waters is the world's leading specialty measurement company focused on improving human health and well-being. There, much simpler. This is how we, so at Waters, this is how we deliver benefit to the world. And deliver benefit is a really key part of everything we do, and you'll hear me bring that up again. So what we're made of, who are our employees? We have over 7,000 employees globally, of which 2,800 are in the U.S. Our global corporate headquarters is near where I live. It's in Milford, Massachusetts. I'm in Blackstone, Mass. In the U.S., we have people in every single state, really. So across the country, in every single state. Now, the numbers of people per state, it varies, of course. So we could have as little as 1 or 2 sales or service people in some states, yet other states like Massachusetts, we're touching 2,000 people in total in the state. Like other manufacturing, laboratory, instrument, software companies, our workforce is incredibly diverse. We span from all different types of jobs and our population themselves, who our people are. So we have everything from assembly workers in manufacturing to world-renowned chemists who are innovating amazing products all the time. And what's really special and unique about Waters is we do everything for our products. So everything from the research and development, the invention of it, the testing it, to then actually building the products ourselves, and then of course the sales in there, but then even the training. So our customers, our clients, training them and servicing the products, it's all part of Waters. As for our demographics, our average age is in the upper 40s. Many with families, and many of them have been working at Waters for most of their careers. Very, very long tenure. And I think that's all important for those of you as you're trying to balance and compare to your organizations, and also help connect what you'll hear from me as I talk further in this presentation. So at Waters, our ultimate goal, whether for our customers or our employees, is to deliver benefits. I told you that would come up a couple of times. Internally, our Total Rewards does this by providing programs and services that help our employees achieve a rewarding career, a healthy life, and a bright future. Today, I want to focus on that healthy life piece. So you'll see a list of 4 things up here, right? Let me go through those. Number 1, different than when I started my benefits career over 25 years ago, not to age myself here, but now our objective and philosophy is to focus on the whole self. So our benefits vision includes overall well-being. Our programs and services, they don't only focus on the traditionally common areas like purely kind of medical, so physical fitness, nutrition, but now it's also to help our employees with additional important overall well-being, financial, right, emotional, social, to name a few. Number 2, we put a large emphasis on prevention. So where and when we can, we provide services and coverages in full for prevention. So, most of us now in our medical plans, for example, in the U.S., right, there's a lot of preventive things that are covered in full because it's actually been mandated or government-driven. We were doing a lot of that before the mandates came out. And we have many examples of additional progressive things that we do to encourage prevention. So just one example, a neat one to share, hopefully it's something that will spark some of your interest, is we partner with a company called Color Genomics to provide genetic testing for those employees who want to know if they are high risk for certain cancers. As you can imagine, this is a very powerful tool that can then allow those people to take important preventative measures if they so choose. Not only is prevention helpful to our employees and their families, which of course is a priority for us, but it naturally also helps our company's longer-term sustainable costs. Proactive prevention is always less expensive than future large claims, and that's an important topic. All of these, they connect to the story here and the musculoskeletal topic and why we chose Hinge. Number 3 on the list here, we also do what we can to make it easy for our employees to access the services and programs we offer. We don't want there to be barriers or reasons an employee doesn't look into something or engage in it. We want to empower and facilitate our employees and their families to take care of themselves. We all know how complex our healthcare system is right now, and it just keeps getting more and more complex. this year with COVID certainly was a test to all of it. We can remove friction, there's ways we as benefit professionals can do this to help our population, and we're happy at Waters to do that. Not as much this year because of the pandemic, but we typically bring lots of services directly to our employees on site even. So some more examples for you. The most important being our health clinic. So we have literally our own on-site health clinic at our global corporate headquarters. We have our own dedicated nurse practitioner there, and we partner with MedExpress by Optum for that. So they employ and service this walk-in clinic, and that becomes our health hub, a great resource for our population. On-site, we also have fitness centers, massage therapy, EAP comes on-site, meets with people in person, financial consultants. We even have dental cleanings, eye exams, and then heck, why not? So even car maintenance services through Zippity is on-site. We also offer an array of virtual services, which were really helpful, as you can imagine, this year during the remote working pandemic experiences we've all been through. So things like virtual ergonomic assessments and recommendations, online mindfulness programs, emotional and behavioral health counselors over the phone, and of course, telehealth, which exploded this year. Number 4, certainly last on here, but not least, is engagement. So offering a lot of benefit programs and services is worthless if people aren't benefiting from them. We are very careful at Waters in choosing programs that are likely to be valued and utilized by our population. And then we go above and beyond to make sure they know about them and help make it easy for them to engage in them and stay engaged. So a good example here, again, I love to share examples with my peers out there. We have our wellness platform, and we partner with Virgin Pulse for that, who has an excellent program designed to engage members, but especially to keep them engaged. So one of the many reasons we chose Virgin Pulse was because of that. If we're going to put this effort in, if we're going to have these nice programs for our population, we want them to keep coming back. We want continuous engagement. Again, important in all of the different benefits we picked to roll out. So now let's connect it. We chose to offer our employees the Hinge Health offering for musculoskeletal help because it fits into all of these buckets. So like I mentioned, we went live with Hinge Health about a year ago, but leading up to that, sorry to the team at Hinge Health, but we really put them through the ringer. Lots of questions, lots of time and energy and effort to prove all of these things. It's clearly, it's a component of well-being, this musculoskeletal topic, right? It's helping the patient reduce pain. It's preventive because it helps avoid future bigger problems for the patient, right? And it's preventive for Waters because it's helping avoid costly drugs and services, even surgery avoidance down the road. It's very easy to access the program and all that it offers, and because of its modern digital design, digital virtual design, and accountable coaches, right? Engagement is great. So not just initial engagement, like I said, it's important to have initial but ongoing engagement. And the way the system is set up, and I'll talk about it, give you some more examples, that comes across very clear why they fit into all of these buckets. So for us, and Dr. Kraus said some stats, and we fit exactly into that, right? I'm sure many of you do. Musculoskeletal pain has a big impact on our workforce. So it's our #2 cost driver in our medical plan consistently year over year, accounting for about 11% of our medical spend. So if you think about that, that's a big number. 11% of overall medical spend is this one area of musculoskeletal. So, we felt this is a no-brainer. We need to do something about this. We need to help our people, and we need to help the company. Musculoskeletal pain, it doesn't discriminate, right? It can affect anyone. And in our case, right, we saw it. So anywhere from our manufacturing assembly line workers to our scientists, biologists, chemists in the labs, and then even just any office worker or field employee. It's not just about a person's profession, right? It's even just what they do on their personal time. There's musculoskeletal issues going on. So let me share what was important to us when we were looking for a solution. So we prioritized a few key items. To start, we wanted a solution that would effectively address chronic musculoskeletal pain. So now the reasoning for this would be twofold. And again, Dr. Kraus did a great job highlighting some of these, and I want to make it real as a client testimonial for you. Most of us know either firsthand or secondhand how debilitating, right, back or joint pain can be. If there's a way we can help our employees to not have to live day in and day out with bouts of back pain, joint pain, we want to do it. We want in. So how do we accomplish this, right? So not only do we want to help them, but by helping them, like I mentioned, we naturally also help the company. Things like attendance and productivity, right? Think about that. Helping with their pain and automatically is helping our attendance and productivity. Second, as we learned earlier from Dr. Kraus, chronic musculoskeletal pain also drives most of musculoskeletal issues and claims. So chronic is a big piece of this, right? And much of this spend is due to avoidable procedures like elective surgeries, imaging, injectables, etc. I could go on. If a solution could help reduce a member's pain to the point that they don't need to pursue those elective items, everybody's winning, right? It's not like the patient wants to be doing those things, and we as the employer and claims payer, we certainly don't want it either. So additionally, with our dispersed workforce, we needed a solution that was scalable and virtual. I mentioned some of our key priorities earlier, right? And this is important to us. The solution should work anytime, anywhere, and help someone whether they're in the office or at home. This was critical for us. As you can imagine, this year became even more important. So COVID pandemic year, most of our employees went remote, working from home. And boy, it couldn't have been better that months before we rolled out this Hinge Health program. It's something people can do wherever they are and what's convenient and when it's convenient for them. Easy integration, key here, right? So integration, implementation, it's important for us. We wanted a solution that would seamlessly integrate with our other vendors and our health plan. It would be easy to roll out. You know, I'm sure like our benefits team, our HR benefits team, many of you don't have a ton of time. You don't have part of your staff sitting around twiddling their thumbs, right? We need something to be efficient, seamless, work correctly, easy to roll out, and those are all important things we found here. So finally, the solution had to be proven. As a company that is dedicated, so Waters is dedicated to enhancing the lives of our employees, we had to make sure that each member, excuse me, to make sure that each member would have a great experience and that our solution provider had the track record to deliver on clinical outcomes. You know, it's our product. It's what we deliver to the world. It's what we do internally, what we expect of our employees, what we provide our employees, so we need our vendor to do the same. So, you know, why did we choose Hinge Health? Hopefully you're understanding that. It's quite simple. They met all of these key points. So everything I just went through, Hinge Health fit into all of those. And we made sure of it. We would not be working with them if they didn't. And let me get into some more of that, some more examples and some more details for you. So offering benefit programs and services should be more than just being able to say you offer a comprehensive benefits package. You know, these are common things we all say or have said, right, in our careers. Yeah, we offer a comprehensive benefits package. We are market competitive. We manage risk and liability. Those are all important, of course, and we do those things. But the programs and services you offer your employees should hold up to your own company's overall priorities. This is very important to us. My team and I focus on this with everything we do. Although you can't see them listed here, I'll review them. There's 5 company priorities at Waters. These priorities guide our company, therefore I make sure we use them to guide what programs and what vendors we partner with and offer our employees. The first one is growth. So number 1, growth. The vendor needs to be successful and actively growing. It almost sounds ridiculous to say, but there's a lot of options, a lot of choice. There's a lot of services out there. Not all of them can truly say that they have proven to be ongoingly successful and actively growing. Number 2, innovation. The vendor needs to be the market leader in advancing the field. And that's important, not just the market leader, but they need to show us how continuously they have advanced the field and what their future ideas are, where they're headed, what's next. This year certainly was a great year for Hinge Health and announcing some pretty cool items of where they're heading, right? The third item is quality. They need to be a proven solution with clinical studies and validated outcomes. Next, fourth one, customers. We want to know how they treat their customers. What is their client retention rate? Do they have a client advisory board or just simply some way of collecting customer feedback? And what do they then do with that feedback? And last but not least, our fifth item is people. By that I mean we care how a potential vendor treats their own employees because we want to partner with an engaged workforce. The workforce that my team would be working with, the account team, but also the folks who are dealing with our employees, our participants in the program. Do the employees there like working there? How is their employee retention? Are employees staying around? Are they growing? Would the team they assign to my account be diverse? Another big topic in all of our lives this year, right? Diversity and inclusion. Well, that's something we actually require of our vendor partners, that the account teams they assign to us is made up of a diverse group of people. It makes sense to apply your own company priorities or values when evaluating vendors to make sure you are aligned and you will be a good team together. So we consider all of our programs and vendor partners truly extensions of our team. So we need to make sure that all of these things are aligned together. So out of all the musculoskeletal solutions we evaluated, and trust me, it's not easy to satisfy all of those 5 key priorities, but Hinge Health was the one who came out on top, who truly satisfied all of these, as they did the prior slide key items that I referenced. So with Hinge Health's chronic care program, our participants have access to the care they need, like virtual one-on-one physical therapists, behavioral health coaches, the sensor technology. You know, it's again all seems like obvious, but it was a pretty special package that Hinge Health came up with to put this type of thing together. What's more, they could consult with their PT and health coach and do their sensor-guided exercise therapies from the comfort of their own homes. I explained that earlier, right? That to us, sure, there's values in all different kinds of programs and live face-to-face programs, but for this type of program to really be successful and impactful to our population, it really needed to be something neatly packaged, something people could do wherever, and this year especially at home. Excuse me. On the next slide, so this is a good point where I felt, you know, we kind of see an example, a still image, but there is a video. So if the group at the conference board can please queue up the video for us, I'd appreciate
that. Here's Steve. He's taking part in the Hinge Health program for back pain and is using his motion sensors to guide him through some therapeutic exercises. In his first exercise, the app guides Steve into a side bed. He moves his body into the green target zone and holds the position for the suggested amount of time. The wearable sensors guide members with real-time feedback so they're confident at each step, while the app tracks if members have been doing their exercises to help keep them accountable. Steve's next exercise is a woodpecker stretch. As he completes the exercises, both he and his health coach can see his progress over time. Each session consists of therapeutic exercises and education to read, and it takes only 10 to 15 minutes. Over time,
Thanks. So, as you can tell, very simple, easy way for someone to understand what the product is and how it works. What the point I want to make right now is that's an example of a tool you have, we had, or as an employer could have, to actually show your employees. This slide, right, is starting to get into this, our marketing tactics. And it's just helpful to know, whatever the tactic you end up using, Hinge Health for us was very helpful in doing this. So when we rolled it out, this isn't a pat on my back. This is trying to prove to you all the effort we put in ends up paying off, and it's purely just a share. So we achieved record member enrollments and engagement. So, how did we do that? That's what I want to go through. And it doesn't matter. So I'm not just talking about what we did for musculoskeletal and Hinge Health. We do this with anything that we roll out. So to start with any benefits communication, it's important to meet your workforce where they are. So with a diverse workforce at Waters, it just doesn't make sense for us to communicate only one way. People have different ways that they like to receive information, right? So, but more importantly, how they absorb what they see and their motivation to take action. So we think it that far out. So not only how do we communicate, but when the person gets it, how they're going to absorb it, and then are they then going to be able to take action? That's all key for us. So at Waters, we communicate our benefit offerings through a variety of different channels. You can see most of them listed here on this one slide, right? Each employee will see, pay attention to, and absorb at least one of these methods, hopefully, at least one of these. And I'll note that all of our workers receive at least one home mailer and are able to learn about our benefit solutions by attending live demonstrations or webinars or videos, right? So at least for us, a consistent, a constant is if something's new, if something's big, if something's important, we do a home mailer. One of the key reasons is partly because of our diverse population. Not everyone has a computer in front of them every day at work. They might be working on a machine or an assembly or in a lab, right? And the other being, I'm sure many of you can also attest to this, a lot of times it's not our employee who is the one who manages the benefits for the household or the family. It's someone at home, maybe a spouse or partner, right, or a caregiver. So we feel it's important to do at least one home mailer, and then also give people the opportunity to either watch something or attend something to hear audio-visual. We also believe it's impactful to always have the marketing materials drive to one consistent and familiar place. So this is key for us and has become very successful for us. So in our case, it's a benefits portal. Again, to give you an example, we partner with B-Swift, a great pen admin company headquartered in Chicago. We've been with them for years now, and they also are an example of someone who meets all of our criteria. So they've been an excellent partner, so not only as the actual Ben admin system, but they also help us with a variety of communication, education, and plan election decision support tools. So in this case with Hinge Health, they're able to house and put in many different places the education and communication materials so that our employees can understand and learn about such a great product like Hinge Health. On the portal, something that's really important to us is that it gives people not only the ability to see a communication in different formats, but like I said, that it's a way for them to absorb it, but then also take action, right? So for us, we make sure we have a lot of details. So if someone wants to dive into the weeds and really understand something fully, they can do that. Or if they just want something really simple, like that video we just saw from Hinge Health, an audio, video, very short. Oh, I get it. I understand what this is. Yes, this interests me. Now let me enroll. All key things. Hopefully some of you gain something out of that. All right. So whenever we launch a new benefit, we weigh the impact and importance and then take the appropriate actions. So for example, if a new benefit or a benefit change that might have a big impact or be a great importance to many employees, we will do pre-trainings, depending on the topic, maybe the managers, maybe even just certain managers of certain business units or departments, right? We know that word of mouth, we all know, it's a powerful tool for benefits. We want to give our audiences a chance to learn and ask questions about the new benefit before we roll it out. We then ask our managers to distribute that, right? Broadcast it, share it. They're the ones that get in front of all of the employees. Same thing with all of our HR staff. So big changes, big announcements, we always give preview to the HR team, both in materials, but even a live presentation for them and another opportunity for them to ask questions. And again, we utilize them to disperse the rollout. They're part of this process of our marketing, right? We all know how much time and energy goes into rolling out a new benefit. So to avoid a disappointing rollout experience, we place an emphasis on educating employees so they can understand what's available, why it's important, how to access it, how to use it, etc. Right? So it's not just sending a flyer, it's all of those things. Taking the time to educate our employees is a key foundation of our benefits marketing approach. I challenge my vendors to be flexible and adapt their marketing tactics to work best for our diverse workforce. So to my peers out there, never accept just a canned marketing pieces from the vendors. Make sure it's going to work and make sense and connect and be usable by your workforce. It might involve asking for revisions, wording changes, doing certain, maybe a postcard versus a flyer, or creating live sessions, have them co-host with you webinars, things like that. It's important to continue to review all of the marketing materials to make sure they stay accurate and up to date. So a common mistake, which ends up turning your employee population off down the road, is some things are communicated or rolled out or posted, right, or maybe put on an intranet site, and they're there for sometimes years, and things have changed. And if an employee or a family member goes there and notices it, they see, well, people aren't putting the time and effort and energy into making sure the stuff is right or accurate. Why should I pay attention? So very important to keep up with it. And we've had great success getting the message out and achieving high enrollment counts by making sure the program is included right on your benefits enrollment platform. So for us, that bSwift admin portal, right, when someone's going through enrollment, we make sure that it's right in there. So in key times like new hires or open enrollment, they're seeing it and getting that important information. All right, so let me share how we actually rolled this out. The Hinge Health team was supported by the Hinge Health team supported our marketing efforts, helping us enroll more than 7.5% of our eligible members. So just for a reference, in case you're wondering if that's good or not, industry norms for a program or product like this is 4 to 5% enrollment in year one. We had already achieved 5% in just the first 3 months. So again, not to pat ourselves on the back, I'm trying to share the effort goes in and it's worth it in the end, right? So the Hinge Health team really was flexible. They worked with my team. They helped design whatever we needed. They had the materials and such, but then they helped create how and what we needed. So, you know, we did postcards, emails, flyers. We did in-person demonstrations. Kudos out to you, Mike. Thanks for doing those for us. And presentations, you know, so webinar type presentations, live ones, and video media, you know, things like that video you saw earlier. So implementation went really smoothly. You know, we had great response, great attention from the Hinge Health team, and we really, things moved along. They stayed perfectly on schedule. You know, their management of the implementation was great. I have no issues with any of that. It was probably one of the smoothest ones we've done with any benefit program. So let's get into some financials, right, and outcomes. Right? This is the icing on the cake. This is what it's really all about. All right, you can see some stats up here. So let me start to get into that. So, you know, like I said, we saw incredible engagement outcomes from the initial enrollment, great initial enrollment. These figures that you see on this screen here that we're all looking at are average per member. So each person enrolled did each of these things on average over their initial 12 weeks within the program, right? So that's how you look at this and think about it. So for example, educational articles. Our members read on average about 17 educational articles throughout their 12 weeks on the program. Or for exercise therapy, just think of this, right? Think of the traditional physical therapy design. It's hard to imagine physically going to 2 to 3 in-person physical therapy sessions a week, every week for 12 weeks or for 3 months straight, right? I know I've been there. You probably all know someone who, yeah, maybe went for 1, 2 at the most, maybe 3 in total, and then you stop. Very time-consuming, very costly, and of course, very difficult in a time like a pandemic. So imagine these type of numbers and this success. It's pretty hard to achieve outside of a program like this. And then on the far right, so for coaching, we really liked how Hinge Health had virtual physical therapists. So virtual physical therapists and coaches who were assigned individually to our members so they could build strong personal relationships. So it's not like they didn't have a person, right? Actual people who cared. This virtual package includes the technology to do it, but also the people behind the scenes at Hinge Health to really help the person. All very valuable, very strong. All right, so pain reduction outcomes. This is the first of a couple slides, right, that talk about outcomes. And this is really the key part here, right? So at Waters, we saw that participants had an average of about 51%, as you can see here on the slide, right? Reduction in pain after the first 12 weeks on this program. Now, keep in mind, this is all self-reported by the members, so we're not guessing or making this up. The actual participants at the beginning of the program evaluate this, and then they do it again at the end of the 12 weeks. So put that into some context. In clinical trials with opioids, the average pain reduction was only 15%. You have to flip those numbers, right? We were getting 51% through this Hinge Health program, where opioids, which of course none of us, the patient doesn't want to be on it and we don't want them on it, was only getting 15%. So let me share a quick story of John, a 36-year-old manufacturing engineer at our company. And no, that's not his real name or his real photo, but the testimony is real. You know, the rest of this information is real. His back pain and stiffness limited his ability to do things he loved, like spending time with his children. Since completing the Hinge Health program, he shared that he can finally play with his kids without fear. Now here's again, the icing on the cake for all of us. His pain levels at the start of the program, he ranked as a 7 out of 10, pretty high. At the end, 0, no more pain. That is why we do this. We do this for people like this employee, and again, of course, imagine what it helped reduce in our potential future claims down the road. So we also have good projected financial savings from avoided surgeries, right? You know, you see on here this 42% reduction, right? That equates to about a 3-to-1 return on investment. Icing on the cake, right? This is the facts. This is what we can now see, and we started to see after just the first 3 months with some participants, and now we're a year in, and we continue to see these type of results of self-reported improvements, pain reductions, now changing from probably will need or definitely will need surgery to I probably don't need surgery now. That's very, very powerful and important. We also saw positive mental health impacts. So again, self-reported, this is real stuff coming from the actual participants. The gray bars represents the percentage of participants at the initial screening point, right? And the blue bars show it at the end, and you'll see incredible amounts. I mean, 94% reduction in the number of participants with anxiety, 79% reduction in the number of participants with depression. Imagine the longer expanding impact that is to them, to their families, to work, right? To their colleagues, to their team, to the productivity. It's simply incredible, the overall impact. And finally, you know, connecting it to that productivity, this is some real stats. So you can't deny, right, if someone's in pain or someone's having to go somewhere else for treatment or care, there's absenteeism, there's less productivity. And this you can see, right, 40% decrease in absenteeism, meaning productivity is going up. Hugely valuable, very important. So let me summarize here, right? Summarize hopefully a story that I just shared with you of how we go about marketing it, how Hinge helps with all of that, and how successful it ended up being, right? So first, my suggestions. You figure out how to fit these into your company. Some might work, some might not, but align the benefits solution you select with your company priorities and benefits philosophy. Next, I recommend looking for a solution that is a market leader and that has proven clinical and financial outcomes. For example, do they have proven adherence, clinical outcomes, return on investment from other clients? Hopefully I showed you ours right there, right? And for us, innovation and quality, key company priorities when selecting benefit providers. In tandem, I'd also recommend you looking for a vendor that will support you in building personalized marketing materials, really helping you provide what resources and tools and services you need to roll this out. Personalize all of that, right? My benefits team and I often receive emails from employees simply thanking us for offering this program. How often do we have that, right? As HR benefits professionals, employees thanking you. We literally, without asking, get these emails often in regards to this Hinge Health program. While selecting Hinge Health, you know, our members, you know, they really appreciated the effort. They saw the effort that the Hinge Health team put in, right? So not just thanking us, but they were appreciative seeing how passionate the Hinge Health team was in doing this and could prove that they were the leader in this area. So that's my story. Hopefully you find it helpful. I would now like to turn it back to you, Dr. Krause.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob. Really fascinating to hear how Waters is delivering virtual MSK care to a diverse and dispersed workforce. So we have about 4 minutes left. Luke, should we open it up to questions, or should I do sort of a wrap up of the of Hinge Health and what's to come in 2021?
I think we got time for 1 or 2 questions. Let's dive in quick. The first question I've got is, what is the difference between you and other MSK vendors?
Oh, yeah. I guess a lot of the things that Rob has discussed, but I would say, so to sort of summarize, one, and we didn't really get into it today, but the chronic program has been our flagship program, but we are expanding also into a full digital MSK clinic that also covers acute MSK pain, also covers surgery, both prehabilitation, prehab, before the surgery, and post-operative rehab, as well as a free expert medical opinion service for people who are seriously considering surgery. So that, I would say, is number one, that we have the full continuum of care. That's those extra services are coming in the beginning of 2021. Some other things I would say currently, in terms of research, that's sort of my alley. I think we're ahead of all of the other MSK services out there in terms of, we have 4 peer-reviewed publications. 2 of them are randomized control trials, and the last one we did was a study on over 10,000 participants in the Hinge Health program. So we've shown efficacy, and we've shown that that works at scale. In terms of security, data privacy, we're SOC 2 and HITRUST certified, so I think we also stand out on that front. And then I would say, lastly, in terms of we have over 250 clients in the United States. We've done multiple rollouts with most of those clients, and so we have lots of enterprise readiness. And I'm also happy to say we've never lost a client. So I think that our clients are really satisfied working with us. Not hearing you.
Sorry about that. I think that takes us right to the top of the hour. Jeff, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about what's next for Hinge Health before we wrap it up.
Well, if you want to go, let me just, we have 1 minute. I will just point out that this is what I was referring to before, that this is the new Hinge Health Digital MSK Clinic that's coming in early 2021. So in addition to the chronic flagship program, we are adding the free prevention program, acute program, surgery program, and the expert medical opinion. And all of that is included in the digital MSK clinic. And I should point out that the price for chronic, that's still the max that anybody would pay for the full MSK clinic. So I know that was very brief. Here, that's worth calling out here that if you want to text on the slide before, this phone number, just say 669-244-4675. We can have you meet with somebody at Hinge, get set up to do that right away.
Great. Thanks so much, Jeff, Robert. Thank you so much for your time and your presentation. Just a few quick notes about upcoming webcast programming from the Conference Board. On October 7th at 11 a.m., we have a program called Realizing the Full Potential of Digital Transformation. October 9th and October 21st, we have some really interesting programs coming up. A brief survey evaluation is going to populate on your screen right after this webcast has concluded. We'd really appreciate your feedback. So once again, Robert, Jeff, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see everyone at the next webcast.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Rob.